sometimes we do have some kind of tap lines that are too heavy that interrupt uh, some parts of our life, a serious part. For example, some kind of tap lines that prevents you from working, for example, or studying or other things. And maybe with the usual practicing of the new year, these things remove slowly because, for example, maybe the new year is uh, doing everything on all the levels, and maybe a little of this tap line, a little of that tap line, and maybe it takes a lot of time. Uh, with this kind of tap lines, do we have to focus on them, or no, just live by them and do the new you and becoming more aware and just focus on the ease instead of focusing on that kind of tap lines to remove it totally so that part of your life starts moving instead of staying at the same point for so many years.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying because, and I have a great consideration and you might say compassion for all this and everybody, what they're going through. And I would like it to be better for everyone. It's kind of like a mother with her children. She sees her children struggling and going through things and sometimes, hurting themselves or having fights with other kids or whatever. And she takes that on. you know, uh, Mother's experiences are incredible. So yes, and I go through it too. I feel the heaviness here. It's very heavy because of how creation is, and it's how, you might say we are pushed to the ground by, we've come to the point where we've so agreed to being controlled and being subservient and whatever. And this is, okay, we're here. That's it. All right. And it sucks. It really does. But at the same time, uh, with that experience, you can take it, and it's not that you're to, you might say, in our minds, focus on the is all the time. This is where you set up your intent. You set it up a particular, and that's up to you how you do this. This is where each one of us has to figure out, and then you relate to that. It's like setting up a business. You set up your business to where eventually it does itself. In other words, you can just stand back and the business is just doing it. It's like an internet site. All of a sudden you've got everything there and people are coming and they're just, buying and purchasing things, as an example. And, it's hands-free to you. You set it up and you can do your intent like this too. See, again, we can do whatever we want. And I see for myself, through all this process that we go through in creation, no matter what it is, through all these five bodies, and you want to understand how the five bodies function. It's very important. And most people don't take the time because they've mashed them all together. They've mashed all the five bodies together. And then from that, they've created ideas that they think, oh, it's this or that, or I just love everything and love will take care of everything. Well, again, they hop from idea to idea relating to other ideas. Okay, is that working? Well, it works in a particular area, a very small area in creation, and it's fine. It's nothing is negated if that's what you want. You got your own little playroom, is what you've done, just like your house. You go decorate a room, a particular, maybe that's your sewing room, or that's the room for Junior or whatever, and you do that particular room. So that's another room in your house, etc. But your real awareness, you decide how to recognize this, and then with the whole of life, that becomes its own thing, to where the new you is of a particular, you're focusing on the new you, and it is in relationship to the real universes and the isness. There is a relationship there, and you're deciding to have that relationship, and it just depends upon, how much or how that relationship is going to be. That's what the new you does. But it's your real awareness, okay, that matters, and how you become aware and how you apply all that. And so again, the tap lining is not the focus. The tap lining is just something we're going through. Tap lining, the five bodies, your dream visions, and the experiences that you're having on the real side. You know, as you notice, these things come and go. But yes, there are things that stay around for a long time, because you know, it's that we don't recognize them, or we really do want them, but the conscious mind is thinking one thing, but the real you and the other bodies, you might say, or you might say, we'll just use the word thinking, are considering other things also. So there's more to you than just the personal self and what it wants, you see. So what I do is I see this too, because I have a personal self and I have to deal with it, okay? And I, quite frankly, don't like it. You know, in other words, not that I don't like myself. I don't, in the true respect, like dealing with it, but at the same time, I've accepted the position because I have to deal with it to relate to this world. I need something, but at the same time, I keep refining myself and my awareness. But I go to the awareness. So when things get really, really hard on me here, and they do many times, it's even a struggle many times just to stand up in the morning, because it's so heavy in what I go through and what I have to deal with. And because of the consciousness that's been created, and especially now with the reptilians, they're destroying the world and other aliens as fast as they can, this world and other things, because they see what we're doing. They see we're coming, and the light is getting bigger, and they don't like that. That's why you're seeing all this speed up stuff in the world. It's because of us. We're here. This isness, the new wave is here. And they don't like that. It's way more so than the rod of power and all these things in the past. That was the beginning. That was the elementary stage. Don't need the rod of power anymore. That's in creation. This new wave is all the way to isness, because I recognize it. And I bring that recognition into creation. Very important. Someone has to do that. And to see this, yes, it has to be done. That's how real it gets. And so I carry this, and it's not easy for me in the personal self. I get discouraged many times because just the simplest understandings are not understood. And many people come to this thinking that, oh, gee, in 2 weeks or a month or something, they're going to get it. Or why don't I have experiences with Rebazar? Hey, you're the kid in kindergarten, first grade. You're just starting out. Now we're dealing with the whole of life. And even though the words look similar to your religion or spiritual path, not even close. Not even close. This is where I tell people it's going to take the rest of your life, and more so, you have to be real. But when, getting back to the core of it here, when these things, which is all the time, almost every moment that I'm pressured by things or what have you, etc., I focus on, my intent is more so on the is. And because I see it, and I see that I will get through all of this, but it's not for my personal self. That's not it. Seeing more than the personal self, to stand real with the is, and seeing how the is sees. That's what I focus on, seeing how it sees. And it's not about me seeing it, but how it sees all of life, and its focus is on survival. And so we're not going to really survive. We're going to struggle, but we'll still be around with the personal self. And you see most of the world, what is it doing? It's agreeing to the marketing demise of what has been placed in front of them. So again, we have black holes in the galaxy that are getting bigger. And this is a schoolhouse, you might say, and it's being ruined because people so agree to it. So when these things get really strange, and we'll just say bad and worse and evil and just downright awful as they are, because everything is poison and polluted, I more so and more so look at my intent and that focus on the is, that it be more so an isness. And so I utilize all my five bodies, with the idea, and at the same time have the intent and see it more so. But it's not about control. Sometimes people will ask, well, why don't you just get rid of the Kalam God or whatever? No, we're not here to interfere with free will, but we can displace them. That's where the phantom zone comes in, and they don't like that. And that's what we've been doing too. We've been doing that because it's like time's up because of what they're doing. But we don't destroy. No, that's not how to do it. And you have free will in action. You also have a lot of people here on the playing field. On the planet, we got, what, 8 billion? That's a lot of free will. And we can't interfere with that free will. You know, just like a mother with her child, you can't go out there when the child is playing and saying, no, sweetie, you're not to do this. You throw the ball like this, and you're to think like this, and here's how you walk, and here's how you step, whatever. You know, as she's watching her kid playing soccer, you can't do that. That child has to learn for itself, because that child, that person, the next person, they have to learn to recognize this isness on their own. That's their part. And at the same time, they're going to go through a whole lot, to try and figure that out. And that becomes lifetime. So for those of you that are here, lucky you, because you've been through a lot, and all this stuff that we did need, in other words, as a comparison to see what you don't need with all these ideas and sound good things and relationships and all that. Yeah, you figure it out. You figure out your own life. But the reason that we're in the creation is the sole purpose is to recognize the isness. Yes, you can have a good time, but most people think, oh, I came here to have a good time. Well, yeah, you play in creation, you do whatever you want, that's fine. And it's not about being serious or anything like that. These are just ideas that people play with, whatever. But it's really about recognizing this isness, because all life, what does it equal? It equals survival. But here in creation, because we mainly put our attention on the personal self, we constantly struggle, don't we? And look at it today. You're always looking for remedies and things to make you healthier and etc. You know, you're constantly having to maintain the personal self. Well, yes, that's fine. But how long do you want to do that? So you have the opportunity to focus on the real you, which is really a toughie, because it's more so than your mind and your emotions and your relationships. And the love idea, that's a good one. That's a biggie. You know, they've sold that all over the place. And yes, you'll still love, but look at the sun shining. This is why I use it as an example. Is there belief there? Is there happiness? Do you see love there? No, these are ideas that we create. And the love idea is usually based around sensations. And it's all fine. If that's what you want, go for it. And you'll play in it now and then. You'll come and go. It's like you eat. You know, you eat a couple times a day, but you don't eat all day long. But maybe some people do. But again, the sun is the best example. Learning to see, learning to recognize what it is demonstrating. And what is the whole of life demonstrating? Can you learn to see it? Well, it's all about survival. It's not about doing things, but while we're in creation, we do things. So everything I do, every moment, is according to what is a reference, what is creating a reference that references the is in some way. Not just creating something that's like, oh, look what I created. Or, oh, gee, we can create this and we can make more money. Okay, so the thing being is that, yes, we do these things, but that's not the intent. I don't care about the money and things like that. This is a created system. We don't need these things, but we're in the system, so we utilize it. So again, all these things, putting all these things together, and it's like, okay, what do you do with it? What do you focus on? Well, because we can decide anything at any moment to simplify what we focus on, that's huge. And that takes a while. And people expect things. I get that. But at the same time, you know, everything equals itself. So you can't expect more. It's just like when you go out there and work on a job, you can tell the boss, hey, I want more money, but, you know, good luck getting it, maybe. But the thing is, you can expect that, but it doesn't mean so. So people come to this and they expect things. They expect that, oh, I'm doing the new you. I want a better job. So when's that going to happen? Well, if it doesn't, I quit. I'm not doing this anymore. It doesn't work. Well, because recognizing your real awareness and plus recognizing the real universes and the isness, whoa, that's a lot. And that's more so than just believing in a God. That's easy. That's why most people do it. That's why most people will take all that time to block the streets in some city like New York, like the Muslims, and sit and pray in the street, because they've got to demonstrate to themselves what they're doing is something real according to their personal self. Fine, have fun. You know, all you do is get harassed if that's what you want. And then they just more so believe in their God, because of God, again, God will solve everything. This is what we've been brought up with. These are the ideas, and people don't see the difference. So recognizing your real awareness from your personal self, that's a big step. So the new you helps you become more aware so that you can start to recognize that, you see? So there's a brief explanation of it. My focus is to the is, but at the same time, I'm doing all this and taking on the burden to constantly create references so people have a chance, this small window right now, to find and recognize, to start to learn to recognize this reality, because it's huge, because all of us have been in creation a long, long time. And things will go on, you might say, just like when Paul was here and Rebazar in the old days, and then Paul came, etc., and now it's my time, etc. Well, it's not going to stay here forever. It's going to be here longer, but at the same time, it's about that awareness and then intent. And just like when Paul was here, the awareness and intent was there. But when he left, you might say, which he never has, it's all here and now. But in the physical sense, people are looking at the created shell, thinking that, oh, that's it. See, and look at the membership. Here it is. I was there up to 2001 because I was to stay there and do certain things. Well, then in 2001 came with the rod of power. It was time to go. Okay, but still the shell is there, and people still look to the shell. People have been in there 30, 40, 50 years. They look to the shell. They're not looking at the reality. And even Harry's previous wife, Marjorie, where did she go? She was the higher initiate. She was supposed to be such and such with the great consciousness. Well, she goes right to the reptilians on the real side because she made a deal. So again, so what is it? Whoa, what an adventure this is. Yeah, what else is there? And can you explain this to people? No, you really can't. And so, yeah, this is something that you can't even consider, but it's everything once you learn to see it, and you decide how you're going to demonstrate that. So what I do is I demonstrate it by as much as I can, if it's the writing or it's the speaking like this, etc. And also doing the projects, because I see the schoolhouse here is being purposely destroyed. And I don't see where it makes sense that I sit here and just watch it be destroyed. So that's what I decide to do. So again, that couples with my intent for people to help them step at a time recognize this isness. And yeah, I never focus on my tap lines, but I imply to others, hey, take a look at what's going on here, because people have these tap lines and they're not recognizing what they're agreeing to. But again, it's their choice. They have a right to agree to whatever they want. And it seems like most of the population is more than happy to agree to the demise of itself, and they don't recognize that, and some do, but it's their choice, so all we can do is what we do. So yeah, we're the minority, you might say, but yet it's all about awareness, and it's not about things and creation. So that's what I see as the best part. So eventually a step out of this, but I'm not even looking forward to that, because it's an isness. I'm here to do whatever. And in the meantime, take it on. Yeah. So I got tap lines in me. I feel the heaviness, like I've said, but it's okay, because the intent only becomes intensified, and I become more aware through that process. You know, it's like something being squashed in a machine. You know, it intensifies itself, and like steel being pounded to become stronger, etc. And so the thing is that, but it's about awareness. It's not about strength or power. This stuff only exists in creation. That's why I did away with the rod of power idea. That had its day, but it's not about power. And it's not about strength. It's not about energy. It's about what already is. It's this isness. And that's the best part.